After reminding myself of these things, I just don't even want to leave the house anymore, ever again. Hi friends, it is Sam and I am back again to make you feel better about your own life by telling you some stupid stuff I've done in my own life. I get 1 to 3 days per month of self-loathing. Today is that day in the month. So I thought, what better time to look back at the stupid things I've done, make myself feel even better. I really enjoyed making my last Sam's an Embarrassment video, so I thought I'd make another one. I have plenty of stories to share. The workplace is one such place where I often embarrass myself. All the time, on the daily. Always an embarrassing moment for Sam. One of my very first was mishearing a customer. This happens a lot, but it's one that sticks with me because it was one of my first, and therefore one of my most embarrassing because I wasn't this confident back when I was like 18. Oh my god, that was almost 10 years ago. It's been 84 years. Basically, someone came to the counter. At this time, our drinks fridge was behind our counter because I work in an area where people steal things. So we keep as much behind the counter as possible in work. If possible, we would make our establishment into an Argos type deal. Like, everything's behind the counter. You can't get anything unless you get the person behind the counter to get it for you after you've paid. Thank you very much. So when I heard this customer ask for a bottle of Sprite, I made my way over to that drinks fridge in the corner, opened it, took out a bottle of Sprite and brought it back to the man at the till. He's like, I said a pork pie. Classic Sam with her like not listening ears, like, clean them out, Sam. More recently, it's a case of finding broken things in work and bringing them to my boss like, this is broken, shall I throw it away? Would you like to tape it back up and see if we can sell it reduced? What should we do with this? And I'm pretty sure he knows it's not me breaking all this stuff, because I would come out and say it like, oh, I smashed this bottle of vodka. Sorry about it. But it's not me, okay? It's like crappy packaging companies that don't package their stuff properly and don't care. Most Wednesdays, I will find something broken and my boss will jibe. He'd be like, oh, Sam's breaking stuff again. Take it out of her wages. And I'm like, no, it wasn't me. You know it wasn't me. One Wednesday, I didn't find any broken things. I was like, oh my god, hashtag blessed. Is it like my lucky day? Should I buy a scratch card? But then I started taking some cans of Foster's out of their outer, and I picked one up by the can and then one fell out of the ring and just hit the hard floor and it burst. No one saw. Like, I was right in front of my boss and my other colleague and they didn't notice. So I picked up this can and it was fizzing everywhere and I'm like spraying myself and the entire shop and like no one's noticed. They're just talking to me like nothing's happening and there's just lager raining down on me. So I run out of the shop with this like raining can of lager, throw it in the outside bin. Hello there. And of course there are people outside who laugh at me, just like bolt into the bin with this like spraying can of lager. I stank of lager for the rest of the day. Moving away from the workplace, before I was old enough to work, I was a very strange child. I don't know whether this was like an anxiety thing or a comfort thing or what, but I used to suck on my shoulder and I'd end up with like hickeys on my shoulder, and my mum did often tell me it was strange and to stop it, but like it took some time to like kick that habit, and I often had love bites from myself on my shoulder because, you know, Sam does love herself, it's no secret. I was also a very clumsy child, and one day in M&S, I was with my dad, my stepmom and my sister. My dad and stepmom were like off being adults, looking at like suits and ties. I don't think it was suits and ties, but like I thought it was business stuff, boring adult clothes. I was like, I can't be bothered to follow them around. Come on, Jess, let's make some fun out of this boring adult shop situation. So I found a mannequin, and it was one of those mannequins without a head. Now I don't know why some shops have headless mannequins and some shops have mannequins with heads. Is the head more expensive to include with the mannequin? But yeah, this was like just the bust area. She had some arms and a neck, but it ended there. Waist to neck was the mannequin situation. So I thought, hey, I'm gonna give her a head. I'm gonna give her my head. It's gonna be really funny. So I put my head on this mannequin's neck. And I was just like, there was the mannequin, there was my head. Look at me, I'm a mannequin. Trying to make my sister laugh. And being the klutz I was, I tipped the mannequin over. It was noisy, but it didn't hit the ground. My dad caught it, and he was very embarrassed and angry with me. Yeah, it was not good. I do tend to make a tit of myself in public. It still happens. I haven't learned from my mistakes. Then came school time, and the pressure to dress the same as everyone else was dressing was strong. And even though I was one to go against the grain, I was also one who wanted to be liked. It was quite a delicate balance. So I was like, you know what? Sod these school trousers. I'm gonna buy a school skirt. All the cool girls wear skirts instead of trousers. I'm gonna do it. So I bought a skirt in one of those like really cheap knockoff clothes shops that are really bad quality, like stretchy, crappy polyester. Awful. Awful, but it was a skirt. It had like a belt with a big buckle, and I was like, I'm cool now. I can't wait to go to school this week and show off my pasty legs. So I went to school in this skirt, and it was a disaster. Drama class in school was like basically we'd sit in a big circle and face each other and do like either improv or read from scripts or suggest acting exercises or things to act out. And I had drama on one of the days I wore my skirt, and being used to trousers, I didn't think to cross my legs. So the boys opposite me in the circle were sniggering at me for like a full 45 minutes until one of the girls next to me was like gesturing at my parts and like crossing her legs over, and I was like, what are you on about? And then I noticed these boys like pointing and sniggering at me, and I was like, oh, they can see my underwear. Great. And it didn't stop there. The skirt just, it spited me again. All I did was love it, but it hated me. I wore it on a summer's day at school, and I was a good girl. I brought sun cream to school with me because I was going to spend lunchtime outside and I didn't want to burn. So I got my sun cream at lunchtime, and I was like, gonna lather, gonna chuck it on my skin and give it a little rub. But it exploded on the skirt. You know, teenagers, sex crazed little imbeciles. So I went around with this massive white stain on my skirt, down the front of it, like huge. I'm sure people were going around calling me Stain Sam. Maybe they still do to this day. Many of my other disasters have been related to my dogs. Don used to have a brother. His name was Fred, and he was a little rascal. But despite his rascalness, rascalism, despite his being a rascal, we still treated Fred and our nons to a little park adventure, like little walk around a field. Like we let them off lead. We just sat down like the happy little teenagers sitting on grass we were, and we just let the dogs run around. But like I said, Fred was a rascal, and one time that we were in the field, he cocked his leg and he peed all over my back. Thanks, Fred. This isn't why we got rid of him. That's the final straw, Fred. You chewed my slippers. You keep stealing my socks. You attack your brother. You're a very naughty boy. And you just weed on me. That's it. You're gone. In fact, we had to get rid of him because he was very mean to Don. So he went to Jess's then boyfriend. But that's not the point. The point is he peed on me. And it was very embarrassing. And I had to walk home smelling of urine. A recent dog-related mishap was when I walked Don to the post office. And Jess went inside and posted her stuff. And then we walked home. But on the way home, Don stopped to sniff something. And we've got like an extendable lead, right? So I could carry on walking while he was sniffing. So I carried on walking while he was sniffing. And this man like just walked past me. And Don started walking forward. The man didn't even see the bloody lead, did he? So I'm here, Don's here, man's walking towards us. He just walks straight into the lead. He doesn't feel it on his legs and he keeps walking. Don's being dragged backwards and I'm just like, what is happening? This man is walking with his legs against my lead. He's either gonna fly or he's gonna kick me dog. Like, and I just like bolted, ran around this man, maybe get stoned at home and then like go outside when you're awake. So yeah, those were a few more little unfortunate events in my life just for you to chuckle at. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye.